Hi everybody and welcome back to the What the FUE podcast. Today I am joined with actually a client of ours, which is very exciting. This is David.
Hi.
Hello all my fans. So David has travelled a few hours to be here with us today. He's obviously a client of ours. He had his hair transplant back in 2022, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just going to chat to him today, talk about his experience a little bit with Want Hair. So yeah, let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, tell us what you do, like what's your job, because I know it's very interesting.
So I work in the merchant navy, I work offshore, work on the ships, I look after the gas rigs who take cargo in and out. Pretty much, yeah. I'm navigating officer, so yeah, that's my job.
Exciting.
I do month on, month off.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you see what?
Well, 28 days on, 28 days off.
Right, okay. And when you're working that full 28 days, you're not like 24-hour days, are you? You still get time off.
You have time off,
but
yes.
you're almost like always on the job.
You're all kind of 6 hours on, 6 hours off. So on the 6 hours off, you can do what you want, but yeah.
Right.
So it's a long...
It's not a long time, 6 hours though.
No.
Is it?
No, you got to get your food
so when
and you sleep. Exactly.
Yeah. So you, if you wanted to sleep, you could only ever really get 6 hours.
Yeah. No, the more 5.5 because you've got to be here.
Yeah, got to get to my bed.
You've got to
get my PJs on.
Yeah, you got to get up. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So the reason I say that is because for the viewers watching, they might have seen an advert that we'd posted before, which is David. So some of you might recognise him, and you are at work, aren't you, in the video? Because I know a lot of people were commenting saying, "Oh, like we love to hear real client testimonials," and that's why we've got you back, because that video people loved. Like we got so many comments, so many people just wanting to hear like your story and your experience. So I think that's quite good because you're someone that's been through it.
Yeah.
So instead of getting, you know, random people for our little podcast today, I'm happy that we've got someone that can give their sort of story, which is basically what we're going to chat about today. So first thing I want to know is, tell me the story of you like first noticing your hair loss. Like what period of time was that in your life? When did you first notice it?
So when I was in my mid-30s.
Right, okay.
Well, when I was in my mid-30s, I was growing my hair a bit.
You mentioned you had long hair, right?
Yeah, I was growing it. I was going to go for a bit of an Aquaman-y type look, Viking-y type look. And then during COVID happened, and then I decided to get a haircut. And then when I got the haircut, it wasn't a good haircut. I went to a different barber, and he kind of
never cheat on your barber.
No, I never cheat. I kind of needed to. Me and my wife was going to watch The Killers, and we decided I decided I was going to get a haircut, and I needed to get it like there and then.
Booked in quick.
Yeah, pretty much. So I went, and they did me a bit dirty, to be fair.
Yeah.
And when I look back at the photographs, I was like, oh my God, I'm starting to recede.
Yeah.
So he was doing my head in for a bit. I was trying different haircuts a little bit, like brushing it forward.
Trying to disguise it almost.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because it wasn't really bad, but at the same time, it was bad for me.
Yeah.
So it was affecting my mental health rather than...
Exactly.
It wasn't... People were saying to me, you don't need a hair transplant.
There's nothing wrong with your hair.
You've got a good head of hair. But I knew that it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So
once you start to notice it yourself, people can say whatever they want to. Oh, it looks fine, it's this. You know deep down if you want to change something.
It just becomes more and more and more.
Something you think about subconsciously, and then you're realising that you could be changing sort of your daily habits, like wearing a hat. Some people have never worn a hat in their life, and then all of a sudden they won't leave the house without that.
Yeah,
so
I
again, it is a whole
totally.
Mental health thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So when I went back to sea and I did a bit of research, and I was looking at other companies as well. My wife was sending me links, and she
doing research as you do. Yeah.
And I had meetings with other people, but when I got in touch with Want Hair through Facebook, actually, put my number on there. We started talking on WhatsApp, and the colleague that I was talking to was in touch with me like straight away. And
which is so that's great for us to hear, because that's what we pride ourselves in.
And everything was reassuring. Everything, there was no pressure selling. It was just straight away. This is what we do. This is what we can do for you. Send us some photos. Yep, you're ideal for it. Because I know I've because I've had a hair transplant
Yeah.
and other people have seen my hair transplant who want to do it as well. I have actually had a few mates that have had hair transplants because of mine.
Because they've seen someone that they almost like trust, and like, it's worked.
And their hair was worse than mine, bald. They were like really bald.
Really good.
Or starting to go really balding.
Yeah.
So mine, I know that their situation, they have to have it, like, the photographs checked out, whereas I didn't, because mine was like at the front, at the side.
You were just getting sort of the hairline done.
I was okay at the back and the top. I am quite lucky that I do have plenty of hair at the back.
Yeah, I was going to say the top of your hair is super thick.
I have got like a lot, but it was just starting to go back. So the colleague was like, yeah, we can do it. This is what we do. This is how much it's going to cost. And there was never, what I loved about it, nothing was hidden. So it was like, we're going to do this for you. We're going to pick you up at the airport. We're going to this is what's going to happen. You're going to stay in this hotel. And there was never any like hidden costs.
No,
it was
they were very transparent with you.
All the way, and so super helpful.
And I remember you mentioning to me earlier, you've like worked in sales before, so you know the whole spiel and you know how it works.
Yeah.
And for you, there was like none of that.
There was no red flags. I was waiting for it.
You do, don't you? Because you're like, all these salespeople, I know what they're trying to do.
I know what they're trying to do, yeah. But there was, there'll always be closing type thing, but it was never any of that. It was like, this is what we do. This is
authentic.
Totally. And it built up my trust, and it made me want to come to One Hair, rather than, there was never that. I never even had that little bit of doubt, even though there wasn't the One Hair UK on Facebook anymore.
No.
At that time, sorry.
Yeah.
It was that, because that wasn't a thing. I wasn't able to speak to other people that had hair transplants.
Yeah, because we've obviously got our Facebook group now, which we didn't have in 2022. The Facebook group's only been a thing for about probably just over a year.
Yeah, everything was pretty new. So I was
you could go and chat to all these people, and you didn't have that. So it was like you were relying on your consultant to give you the reassurance that you needed, and thankfully you got that.
Yeah, I was going solely on the consultant,
and what they're telling you,
and I trusted him like straight away. He told me where he was at in Leeds at the time. I think it still are in Leeds.
Yeah.
I know that's where we are.
That's where we are today.
That's where
so this is our head office.
Yeah.
This is where we are today. Obviously, consultations are. You can come here if you want a consultation. All of our sales guys will come in for the consultations. But majority of people do them over the phone.
Yeah.
It's WhatsApp.
Things evolve, and that's the thing.
People across the country, so we get people in different countries as well, like who, I don't know, they might be in America for work or something, and they're coming back to the UK. So we've got people across the world really, but most people it's over the phone. But we do have it available if people want it. So people would like to chat face to face, don't they? So people don't want to talk over the phone.
Yeah, so I decided to go to Turkey to have mine done.
Yes.
Me and my wife, we went together and we stayed in an amazing hotel.
Oh, you took your wife with you, that's nice.
She came with me. It was
free holiday.
Mini holiday,
yeah,
why
I'd be
not?
coming. Do you want to come with me? Absolutely, yes.
Tick.
Yeah. Get me
So-
on that flight.
So what I did was I weighed up like the cost of having it done in England at the time, and Turkey, and what we would spend whilst we were there, and it was, it was worthwhile me going to Turkey, having them 3 days
Exactly.
out there. We flew on the Tuesday, had the Wednesday to look around Istanbul, had it done on the
So
Thursday.
you did a little bit like sightseeing. You could go out and
and then came back. And even then, on the way back, I never once through my whole journey felt alone. And that's a big deal, I think.
That's very important.
Because he said to me on the phone, he was like, with me going to Turkey, the consultant, I was like, what do I do? He said, for the first 14 days, I want you to send photos
every single day.
Send photos. And then, any issues. I had loads of little issues. Like I was sleeping with.
You panic, don't you? And you go, am I doing this right? Am I doing? And that's why your consultant is there to chat to whenever you need them to.
Like one of the nights, because I was sleeping with one of those like travel pillows.
Travel,
And I woke up in the morning and I had like blood trickling down. So I must have like just had an itch or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
What have I just ruined it?
Sent him a message. He was like, don't panic, it's all right. And then we washed it, sent him the photos. He was like, everything's fine. And then I saw after the 14 days, because I'd arranged it because I work at sea. I'd arranged it so I had it done within. I think I got home like on the Monday. I had it done the following week.
Yeah.
So I had 2 weeks, just 2.5 weeks
off work.
before I went back.
Oh, okay,
So it never interrupted my actual routine.
Yeah, that's good because those first 2 weeks, that's the initial healing process. So, and after that point, you can obviously wear a hat. You can
hard hat. That was the issue. The hard hat.
Exactly for your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good that you had that time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then when I went back to sea again, like with regard to exercise and things, because we do have a gym on the ship.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. So you can't
That's nice.
you can't have like.
Not that I'd go to it, but.
You can't have like, you couldn't. I was told like you can't properly sweat.
You can't.
Like for the
we
first
want
month.
to avoid heavy
Roughly.
sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can sweat if you're a sweaty person, then there's nothing you can't help it. But like through exercise.
Don't actively go out of your way to exercise and cause heavy sweating.
No.
Yeah.
So you could like go on an exercise bike, but as soon as you started feeling a bit like sweating, then stop.
Quick, get off.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
But it's more again like a mental health thing. You're away from home. You want to go somewhere else for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get Netflix on or whatever and watch something, and then on the exercise bike, just take you somewhere else for a bit. But then once that 28 days was up after my transplant, then you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. You can you can carry on doing go back to your normal.
You can play football, do whatever you want. Which it was obviously before I had the transplant, I'd gone through with my consultant everything. So I had it all.
Everything you knew. Everything.
I knew what
Nothing
I was doing.
Hidden from you.
No.
Yeah, I think that's quite an important thing as well. I know we've mentioned it before, but just the word like transparency, like you're told everything from the beginning, and if you ever need to ask your consultant anything, they'll just be honest with you and just say, look, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do.
Well, there's no point in hiding it, is there?
There isn't. What's the point? Like, honesty is the best policy at the end of the day.
Because you only get caught out with stuff like that in the end, don't we? Especially with social media.
Oh God, yeah.
It only takes a little slip and it's everywhere, isn't it?
So I know. Yeah, it would go viral.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. But that's what I never got with everything. What they said would happen happened. So when I went back to sea, obviously I looked totally different.
Yeah.
I was getting called Action Man and all sorts of stuff because I had the beard.
You just wait for the comments.
And I had like the shaved head and the red marking, but they knew what was coming because I'd told them before I was joining anyway.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys on the ship, he is bald.
Yeah.
And he followed my journey. So he was like helping. He's a bit of a hairdresser as well, actually.
Oh, bless
so
him.
as my hair was growing back,
yeah,
like the stuff that wasn't transplanted, he was shaving it down for me. So when I had the long hair, he was shaving it up the side for me in the ponytail.
How handy is that, having like a hairdresser on the ship?
Yeah. It's called Reese. Give him a shout out.
There we go. Shout out to Reese. If you need a hair transplant, let us know.
Yeah. So he used to cut my hair down even when it was, and being very careful around the transplanted areas because we never touched it for the first month that I was away.
Yes. Yeah.
So that would have been like 3.5 months, I think.
Yeah, because obviously you want to avoid. Like,
we never did any of that. Yeah. So I had it done in the September. Went back to sea in the October. Came back to sea the end of November for like Christmas time.
Yes, Christmas period.
So that was my period where all the transplanted hair had fallen out.
Yes, so shock loss, which is that's what we call it. It's very common in hair transplants. So talk about your experience with that, because you had a bit of a wobbly moment.
I think it's because I'm quite active on One Hair's UK Facebook page. I think everyone's transplanted hair falls out though, does it not?
Yeah. It falls out to grow back.
To grow back, yeah. So once it's there, like a lot of people when they have a hair transplant, like they get attached to that because they're used to it, and then when it falls out, they're like, no.
They're like, oh my God, my transplant hasn't worked. It's gone.
Yeah. So you go from having these follicles to just red patches, and then you're
it does almost look like pinky red.
Well, it's kind of almost like a burn.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then you're waiting for that to heal. So you're left with. So I was left with the marks there. And then obviously here, and I wasn't shaving, because I was wanting it to grow through, and I wasn't touching it, so it was just like growing. Yeah. And then once this started growing, like again after it being shaved, my actual hair, I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh no, it's not worked. Yeah. It hasn't worked, I'm panicking. And my consultant, he was really good, like during the sales side of it, but also the aftercare side of it, he was even better.
Yeah.
So I was messaging him, sending him videos, going, it's not worth it. He's going, just trust the process.
Trust the process.
That is the key word.
So you've had yours, literally, trust the process.
That's the slogan.
So this was happening to you around December time. You had your transplant September time, is that right?
I had the transplant in the middle of September.
Yeah.
And then I would say beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December, that was my wobble. That was where I'm like going.
So that's the period of time. We say it's between 3 and 4 months to even start to see the new hairs come through.
Yeah.
So for all the people watching, thousands of fans watching us right now.
All the
followers, you will experience the shock loss, you'll go through that, and you won't even start to see your new hairs come through until those 3, 4 months.
Yeah, because it grows in cycles, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I went back to sea.
Yeah.
And I was away for, I'm pretty certain I was away for Christmas that trip.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, because every time say like you're home for September this year, you're normally away for September next year.
The following year, yeah.
1 year you're home for your birthday, next year you're off.
Okay, so like Christmas, 1 year you're at home.
Yeah, pretty much. As long as you stay on the same
it's
ship.
Only fair then, isn't it?
If you stay on that same ship, then 1 year you're away, next year you're home, and it works like that. So I noticed that trip as it started going on. I looked in the mirror and I was like, what? Starting to grow.
Yeah.
There it is. And it's like, and then within 3 weeks, I was literally going to the hairdressers having my first haircut. So you're talking October, November, December, January, 4 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And
3, 4 months, and then all of a sudden, it really, we've literally just spoken about it. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Like once you get to those few, because again, you go through the panic stage, the hairs go, and you're thinking these are never ever going to come back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, you're like, where did that come from?
Exactly.
And we all say it, like me and Tristan did a podcast a few months ago, and Tristan is another one of our consultants. He's the Essex guy, if you've seen him on the street doing, him.
I've seen him.
He always talks about, I think he was in Greece, he said, and he literally walked past the mirror, like double taped himself in the mirror and was like, hold on a minute, I have hair now. Like, where the heck did that come from? Because he spent so long, and you get used to yourself not having any hair, and you get so used to it that you're like, oh my God, I've all of a sudden got hair, and it's such a weird, strange time.
Yeah.
But once it comes and it's there, you'll be happy. You just got to wait it out.
See, that's where I'm kind of different, because I wasn't bald, but I just wanted a better hairline.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit different for you. It's not like it was like, I'm having to really hide myself because I'm...
No, I could maneuver it.
Yeah.
I just noticed after this crap haircut, basically.
Yeah, that you were just slightly receding.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I need to do it now before it gets...
Yeah.
So after it, one thing that I'm not 100% on is the finasteride and minoxidil, because...
we can talk a little bit about that.
So I do take it, like I take finasteride not every other day, like pretty much I would say a couple of times a week.
Yes.
And then the spray, again, like sometimes I'll do like a course of a week and then I might forget.
And then you forget.
And then, everyone's human, aren't they? But I've not noticed any big changes. So with how I'm doing it, I don't think it's, after watching the podcast and things, I don't think it's cut and dry. This is how you have to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously everyone's different. But I take the finasteride tablets and I spray them minoxidil.
Yes, a lot of people, because
on the night time.
Yeah. I think that's what most people do. They take the oral finasteride, like the tablet, and then they use the minoxidil spray.
Yeah.
So we actually just had Sophie on our podcast, and she's a hair loss expert, and she was talking so much about finasteride and minoxidil. I learned so much about it. Like, I didn't even realize some of the stuff. But obviously, there is side effects, isn't there, that comes with like finasteride and that kind of thing. So although we as a company and the consultants will always recommend it just to help the process, what I would recommend, if for those who have questions about finasteride and minoxidil, if you're coming with want hair, just ask your consultant.
Yeah.
Because they're trained professionals for a reason.
Yeah.
And we do, if you check out our YouTube channel, we do have videos on finasteride and minoxidil and that kind of thing, because we know that people are going to be sat at home getting themselves into a spiral of going, oh my God, how do I use it? What do I do? This person's told me one thing, this person's told me another. If you're ever not sure, reach out to your want hair consultant, because that, to me, that's probably just your best bet, rather than listening to multiple different people on the internet.
Oh, 100%.
But that's one thing that I was going to ask you, actually. Before you decided to get your transplant, did you know about finasteride and minoxidil, or did you only know about it after? Right.
Yeah, I did.
Because I was thinking like, oh, when you were doing your research, maybe you did you try those things before? Or did you just go straight in with that?
Yeah. It was kind of like a quick decision, really, to be honest with you. I was on about it with my wife, and she was like, just do it. And as soon as we just agreed we just decided it was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So
good for you. I think sometimes those decisions are like the best ones that you ever made.
You can put things off, and then eventually you think, why didn't I do it 3-4 years ago?
Exactly. Well, that's what a lot of people get to. They're like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah. Saw the adverts online, and you're thinking, well, okay, these prices might change. Inflation at the time.
Well, of course,
everything was
like
going
anything goes up. Yeah.
Well, at the time when I had my hair transplant, you had house prices was going through the roof. Everything was. No, it wasn't house, gas and electricity. That was crazy.
So let's touch a little bit about your actual surgery day. So you went to Turkey for your hair transplant. Walk us through sort of the process, how you were feeling, because nerves, we all know that they can get the better of us.
Yeah, I was nervous. I went down for breakfast in the morning, and I actually was quite lucky because I got stood with the guy who was having the hair transplant as well. Same day. So he was from Liverpool. Got talking to this guy. He was also having a hair transplant. He was balding quite bad on the top.
Right, okay.
He also did the you don't need a hair transplant talk, and I'm like, shut up.
The whole shebang.
Yeah. So we got talking. Ended up in the taxi together, going.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, going to the hospital.
So how was the transfer? Was it
really nice?
Smooth and everything?
The taxi was really nice. They was on time. Everything was really smooth.
Good, yeah.
Arrived there. The place was stunning.
Gorgeous.
Like, it was amazing. Yeah. I've never seen a hospital like it where I'd done. It was unreal. Again, went up to the consultation treatment place.
Treatment room, yeah.
Went through everything. The surgeon, sorry, was put us at ease, had a bit of banter with me.
Oh, that's always nice to make you feel a bit calm.
Also told me that I didn't need a hair transplant. Told me I needed a nose job. I was like, oh, thank you very much for that.
Do you know what? I'll just tick that off while I'm here as well.
Could have told me that before I paid.
Yeah.
So I gave him a bit back.
Could have got me a bit of discount.
So we had a bit of a joke. He drew some lines on.
Yeah.
He put a mark like where my hair was at the time, and at the sides.
Make sure that you're happy with it. If you're happy with the line.
Basically, and all that. Went in. He took a photograph to start with, this is where we are now.
Yeah.
Then he drew the lines, and then he was like, "Are you happy?" I was like, "I actually said no. I wanted it further forward."
No, which is fair enough.
Because what had happened was, like I said, my hairline wasn't bad. I just wanted it better, so it was thinning. Yeah. So they drew a mark where my hairline went to. So he was putting a mark on there where it was at, and I wanted it a little bit further forward where it is now.
Yeah.
So they did. He drew the marks on, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'm happy. And then they take another photograph. So then you've still got your hair.
Yeah.
They take the photograph. Then you go into another room and they shave your hair off.
Yes, yeah.
So now you're bald, like your skinhead shaved down.
Left.
Yeah, like Ian Beale, full on Ian Beale. Nothing left. And then so then you're looking again now, and you're seeing where you're starting from. You're at a base. And you're like, yeah, okay, like, is it right? Is it how I want it? Yeah, it is, okay. So they take another photograph.
Okay.
So now you shaved head. And they even take a picture of like the door, they draw the donor area on.
Yes, the part where they're going to be taking the extractions from,
And then they're like, are you happy? So everything all the way through, it's always like, are you happy?
Yeah. They're not going to go forward with anything if you are not happy.
I felt like in total control, even though, you know, it was.
Even though they're the surgeons.
I was entering into the unknown.
Yeah.
It was what I wanted, not what they wanted.
Which is important.
Yeah, totally.
And so for those who are booked in or getting it done, speak up if you're not happy, 100%. If you want something changing, because they will happily do it for you.
Well, yeah, the thing is, if you go to a restaurant and you're not happy with the food,
you send
or you ordered beef and you get chicken, then you're gonna say, aren't you?
You get beef and you're a vegetarian.
Well, that's what I was going to get to actually, because I am vegetarian.
Are you?
So when I went for this for the hair transplant, after that moment, they said, right, we're going to start. And the surgeon takes you into the operating area, and he uses the sapphire blade. Makes the holes, because that was another reason why at the time I went to Turkey, because it was included in the package.
Yes, sapphire blade
Things have potentially changed since then.
Yes, we now include the sapphire blade no matter what.
Well, it was
at the time for you.
For me,
it was
At Turkey at the time, it was the standard for them.
Exactly.
So he made the holes. Sorry, I had the injections first.
Yeah. So how was that? How did you feel about the injections? I know a lot of people. We actually seen it. Well, for me, it was the first time I had seen it the other day.
Yeah.
We did a bit of filming down in London, and bless the guy who was getting his transplant done. He was covered in tattoos, and he was like, "That was a breeze." I was expecting him to be like, "Oof, that hurt."
I'm not gonna lie. The initial injection wasn't comfortable, but once you have the first one, because it's like anaesthetic,
they
go close. So as they're going along, like you're not feeling it.
Yeah, the anaesthetic is spreading out, and you're starting to not feel the rest of it.
And plus, I had the face, so by the end of my injections, my head looked like a South Park head.
Big.
Yeah, I had like this big. What are you laughing at?
Can I just imagine him with this
well,
massive
basically, like, because I had injections all over at the time, like for numbing, it's got to go somewhere, hasn't it?
Of course it does. Yeah.
So like he made I had the injections. They weren't the best. No. I'm not gonna lie. They weren't. Once they'd started.
Not like enough to never.
No.
Put you off and never have done again.
If anyone said to me about a hair transplant, I would say that they're not the best. But at the same time, once you've had the first one, that's it. Yeah. It's kind of like when you get a tattoo, if you've had a tattoo, it burns to start with, but then you get used to that sensation. Once it's gone in, then it spreads, and then they do it there, and then by the time you're at the end, it's still a little bit uncomfortable, but you're feeling it, but you're not.
Yeah.
So
it's one of them things like you're happy to do it to get the outcome of amazing hair.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't the worst. No. It just wasn't. It wasn't nice.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think some people online will say, "Oh my gosh, it doesn't hurt at all." Well, no, you still need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Like
it's a needle going in your head.
Yeah. So like, don't be silly. It's not gonna be enjoyable, shall we say?
It wasn't a tickle. It was sore.
Little feather.
Yeah, it was sore to start with, and then it slowly got. Yeah. So after that, the sapphire blading came in, because he'd made his lines and everything, so he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then after he did that, it was like, right, you have a 3-course meal. So I then I had like the shower cap crack going on, face like, do you know what I mean? Because he'd made all it's like South Park. Can we say South Park? I guess we can say.
Yeah,
South
of course
Park.
we can.
Shout out to South Park.
Come on, South Park.
So the meal, because I'm vegetarian, like I was like, oh, what's it gonna be? But it was so good.
Was it good?
It was a 3-course, like tomato soup.
Like you're in a full on. Yeah, that's what
it was like
give
a
it.
Full on like proper restaurant standard meal.
Amazing.
Yeah, like
that's nice.
Gâteau and everything. It was like proper good. Yeah.
Like you're
cheesecake. Sorry, not
Well, hey, I'll take cheesecake.
It was proper good. And then so after that, because the surgeon had done like his bit.
Yeah.
They took me to, after I'd eaten, it was like, right, it was extraction time.
Yeah.
So I was like, how are they doing this? Because at the time, obviously, you've had your injections and that anyway, but then they basically lie on your front.
Yeah.
Almost like a therapy bed.
Yes, like a massage.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And then I suppose there were nurses, they came in and they used like this tool to extract, I think, like every 5th hair.
Yeah.
And that, they were just like, it was really like relaxed.
Yeah.
I actually fell asleep while they were doing
A lot of people
Yeah.
do. They say they fall asleep. I think they expect, I've said this before in a previous podcast, but I think people expect it to be like a real terrifying hostile environment.
Not even a little bit.
And it's not, is it? It's
No.
like it's almost like you're going to like a dentist, like the dental
Kind of,
chair
yes.
type of. It's a bit more intimate. It's not like you're in
I'd
some
even
big
say-
scary operating
No,
room.
I'd even say it's more chill than that, because
Chill,
when I was having
right?
mine done,
Yeah.
there was 3 nurses, they were all talking to each other, and they were watching like the Turkish version of Friends.
Yeah. Because
Whilst it
they've
was
got to
going
have
on.
something
Yeah,
on
they've
in
got to
the
have
background,
something,
haven't they?
something on while they were,
Yeah.
you know, a bit of.
At least listen to some music.
And they were like talking about, in Turkish, talking about what's going on. So I was quite like just happy that they were happy.
That they were
'cause,
happy,
Yeah, they
yeah.
were just having a laugh
then
and a
you
joke.
know it's going
if,
good,
If
and-
they're enjoying them, if they're like in a nice feeling, then
Yeah.
you're. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It makes you feel calm and
So once they'd extracted these hairs, I can't think how long it took. Let's just say about an hour. It was
Yeah.
quite long. They were like, "Do you want to go to the toilet?" And I went to the toilet, and I came back, and there was these like strips, like they looked almost like wax strips with
Right.
my hair on, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, "What is that?" It was
why
like,
is my
it's
hair
like, "Yeah,
there?"
it's your hair." And then because I said there was 3 of them, you then sat on the chair going the other way. Right?
Yes,
So
you're
now
then sat
facing,
upright,
kind
yeah.
of like that.
yeah,
I had one nurse behind me, one on the side and one on the other side.
Yeah.
And they were basically tweezering like
Yeah.
the hairs into
Yeah.
the holes.
yeah.
And
Because
it
they've
just
got a
was
certain
like-
amount of time for that. That process has to be done quite quickly.
Yeah.
It's those extracted hairs. You've only got a certain amount of time before you wouldn't be able to use them anymore.
like the
So
opposite
they've
of-
got to have quite a few people around you to start implanting them.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the opposite of plucking.
Yeah,
It was-
literally
it was,
going
it,
in.
It was unreal. Like,
Yeah.
it was such a crazy experience. So I got picked up about 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was a long process because I had the
It
beard
is,
and that.
yeah.
I think I left there. I think they finished about 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
But-
it's
but-
pretty. Obviously, if you have your lunch
the
break,
break,
though,
so
toilet
yeah.
break, yeah.
Yeah, it
on
wasn't-
average, they're between 6 and 8 hours.
Yeah.
The process.
But mine was probably because I changed things at the start.
Yeah, of
and,
course.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't just a,
No.
oh, yeah, good to go, let's get
It
it.
wasn't like I was just going to go for a haircut and this is what was
course,
happening. It was
yeah.
like this was the process. Are you happy? Yes, we are. Sign the documents. And every single time they did stuff, the photographs was taken.
Yeah.
So it was everything was like documented,
Yeah.
and I loved that.
Yeah, that's good to know that they're sort of, what's the word? Like
Professional.
professional, but like doing the best they can for what you want.
Yeah.
So like they're along the line, like taking
Personalised.
a photo.
It was personalised. It
Personalised,
was.
that's the word. Yeah.
I feel like it was personalised.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, your
And then-
hairline is personalised to you, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's the whole point of it. It's how you want it.
Exactly. And then when I went, and then afterwards, obviously they rinse off whatever,
Yeah.
and then when you're done, you go back the next day, and they
Yes.
check it all out, give you medication pack, and
Yeah,
this
everything
is
you need.
everything is in there. What you need, the shampoo,
Yeah.
the medication when you have it, like this time of this amount, and then they give you a pack to take to the airport because obviously you look different. At this stage,
Yes.
you're not the same as what's on your passport.
No,
So you're like,
you're not.
this is me, but this is what I've had done,
Yeah.
and then everything's cool.
But then
And
again,
there's so many.
yeah, we say it all the time because people are worried about. They're like, oh my god, am I gonna have to walk around? I don't want to go to Turkey because I don't want to have to walk around an airport with everyone looking at me. Trust me, half the people in the airport have had something done.
When I was on the plane flying back to Manchester, right, I'm not joking. I think there was 3 hair transplants,
Yeah,
2 turkey teeth,
Yeah.
and one nose job.
yeah, nose job,
Like,
boob job, the whole lot.
all like that was all, and that was just what I saw.
Yeah,
But what was funny was, when you're queuing up at passport
yeah.
and you're going like round and round like that, you're giving like the nod of approval. Like
Yes,
you know,
almost like, hello, my surgery friend.
when you support the same football team, not back to
it's
football.
like a
But you see that,
acknowledgement,
yeah,
isn't
you see
it?
the person with the same football team you support, and you're
You've
like,
got to do a
"Alright."
little.
So this was what this was like. We've got the hair transplant. It was
Yeah.
like, I know what you've been through.
Exactly, yeah. We've almost, it's like we've
We're
done, we've
practically
been there,
brothers.
done it. Yeah,
It was, yeah,
been there, done that.
got the hair transplant.
Trust the process. That's just today's, I might name this podcast, Trust the Process.
Why not? It's a
What
slogan.
the FUE, trust the process.
There's guys on the ships and that when I talk to them, a lot of them are interested in having it. So I think me being the guinea pig
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah,
It's
you
kind
did the
of-
test.
Yeah, it was kind of like that on my ship. It was like, because I was saying, why don't you get one done? They're like, we'll see what yours is like first, and there has been a couple that have actually like done it.
Yeah, it's good. It's always better to see from someone that you know.
It's good to know it from someone that you know. Yeah,
exactly, and they can see it in person.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we have all these adverts and we put all this stuff on Facebook, Instagram, but people are skeptical. You never really know how it looks in real
never
life.
know what
you can't gauge it, can you?
You can't. Well, you see adverts all over the place, like wrinkle cream and this and that. It's miracles, and take this potion once a day and you look like Ronaldo. It just, you want to see your own reality, don't you?
You do. You want real.
Yeah.
That's why your video did so well, because it's a real client story.
Yeah.
And it was real life, and that's what people want. And that's why people love the Facebook
And that's
group.
why I've had the messages, I think, because...
Yeah, well, I was seeing people like comment on it saying, can you... I'm pretty sure it was your video, like, oh, I need to see his before photos, like... And I'm like, God, I can't reply to like all these people. But yeah, so many people are wanting to see like your before images and all this.
I think everyone wants to see it before though. Like on the, when you're on that One Hair UK page, it's always like, what's your before?
What was it like before?
Yeah.
I also think they want to compare themselves, because if they see someone whose hair looks very similar to theirs, they'll be like, okay, I can kind of guesstimate that that's how mine's going to turn out.
Yeah, well, I've had the messages because people have said, well, I'm not actually bald on top. Well, I wasn't.
I wasn't, yeah.
And that's why they messaged me, because it's like, I'm different.
You weren't a worst case scenario. No. And I think people think you only get one when you are worst case scenario, but no, so many people just get...
Yeah, and what I liked about One Hair was there was no lying. So it was a case of, if you weren't like suitable, then...
Exactly.
And I loved that. I was like, well,
it's just being honest, isn't it? Why ruin something?
I know that some companies would have said, yeah, come and do it.
Just to get you in.
Like, I saw some places in Turkey, that's why you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, come in here, get a kebab, get an haircut, get an hair transplant, get your teeth done.
Yeah.
You can go...
It's like conveyor belt, like next
go to some certain
in.
seaside towns, not to mention any like certain ones, but you can get a dodgy tattoo on the front. Of course
you can.
For like a tenner.
Yeah.
Or you can pay...
Grab your donuts
400
and your
quid
fish and
or whatever, go to a decent tattooist and get a good tattoo. And that's the same with a hair transplant. You pay for what you get.
You do.
You're paying for a service.
Yeah.
I saw these places in Turkey where I had like these side streets.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We get people comment on our social media saying, too expensive, I can get it done in Turkey for 500. And I just think to myself,
dangerous.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck is
What's the saying? You buy cheap, you buy twice, or something like that.
I don't know that one, but
if you pay half the price, you're going to have to get another one to read.
Pay twice.
Yeah, well, that's better.
That's a good one.
Pay half price, pay twice.
Yeah, no, it's true though. You pay for what you get.
You do.
And One Hair is affordable. That's the thing as well.
Well, yeah, I in my opinion, we're very much in the middle, because we're not stupidly overpriced, and I think a lot of companies know they can charge more because they do. Some are pushing 7-8 grand.
Really?
These surgeries it doesn't cost, you don't have to charge that much.
No.
So, obviously everybody has to make a living, but our pricing is very, although some people might have a different opinion, it is affordable to the everyday person. Sure, it takes some saving up.
Yeah.
So does Christmas every year. You know what I mean? Of course, you're going to have to save up for something that you really want to, but it's not going to completely break the bank forever.
No. People pay a lot of money for cars. People pay a lot of money for all sorts of stuff. So why not put it on yourself?
Exactly. And it's an investment into yourself at the end of the day.
I wanted the hair transplant, like basically to feel better about myself, mental health, to look younger.
Exactly.
And I'm well happy with it.
Well, that is a wrap, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks to David for travelling all this way to come and see us today. Have you had fun?
I've loved it, yeah.
Good.
It's been good.
So if you have found David's story interesting and him talking about his experience, and you're looking to book a consultation, consultations are free. At any point, you can just drop us a message on social media or visit our website. It's just www.wanthair.co.uk, and you can fill in the form there and it'll get you a free consultation. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave comments if there's anything you want us to talk about in the future. Thank you.